with all due respect.
Hey, we're Josh Ortegon and Gray Achille, and this is With All Due Respect, the show where we keep it real about health, fitness, and performance. From weight loss to sports development, we're covering the conversations that matter.
Follow us on Instagram at WaterXPod, WADR, and visit phenombrand.com, PHNM, for performance gear and training programs built for real results. Let's get into it.
Boom, live.
Live.
We had some technical difficulties for a little bit.
Yeah, Jesus. That was so weird.
Yeah.
It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. Welcome to technology.
Yeah.
But we are here for 111.
Mm-hmm.
And you said one of the things we're discussing today is back to the youth sports. World Cup, I guess World Cup is cool.
Yeah, well, and I mean, of course, our phones listen to us and put out more content when we click something that's interesting. So obviously I saw that ESPN article. I think you shared it, and I think somebody else shared it too. Just talking about youth soccer development.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, like my phone is like, here's a ton of articles and videos about other people talking about youth soccer. And yeah, I mean, I think the conversation's always interesting. It's been a little while. It's been 2 years since we talked about it. So
About
yeah,
youth sports,
World Cup would be pretty perfect.
Yeah, it's a weird industry that I think, in my opinion, so I'll make a bold statement, that has been ruined by parents.
Do you think parents alone?
No, I think we have, turned it into a business. Youth sports is now anytime parents are spending money, I don't care what it is.
Right.
Somebody is gonna corporatize and monetize this billion-dollar industry called youth sports.
Mm-hmm.
And we now have a high school football player who has just been given his been awarded I saw it for the first time. I'm sure there's others. I don't keep up 100% with this.
Right.
That a high school kid has been given $1 million NIL contract out of high school. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, parents are now seeing those high 1%, 0.1% of kids with dollar signs. Right. And, you have one of the top 50 athletes or football players in the country, and you now have something that can financially change your family forever.
Yeah.
But that's the top 50 high school football players in the country. And, we have talked about, it makes me, the guy you brought on that taught the sociology class around sports, I can't remember his name. Is it Eddie?
Mm-hmm.
I keep going back to that podcast where he talks about, the socioeconomic of these kids that are going off to play sports. And, to play club football, club baseball, club volleyball, club soccer, it's a lot of money. But here's what I will tell you. The best kids on your club team aren't paying. Like the superstars, because little, mommy and daddy want little Billy to win a championship. And they know that if the superstar kid can play on their team, that little Billy's going to win a championship in baseball.
Do you think that's true across all sports, or do you think that's true just in baseball?
I think most sports, soccer, baseball, I have a direct relationship with a kid that was drafted out of high school that never played for a baseball tournament in his life. And he was ended up drafted out of high school and pitched in the World Series. And when he was in high school, the coach went and picked him up and drove him to the tournaments, and he would come in and he'd pitch. And he had very, very, very little money, but all the rich friends could say that they won the baseball tournament in Myrtle Beach this weekend because
Right.
this kid rolled in and threw 92 miles an hour in high school and struck everybody out and was the hardest throwing 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old and does it. And I think, I was reading a thread where parents were actually commenting, yay, my kid scores 25 points a game. We haven't paid for an AA tournament in 5 years. Right?
Which, like, when a kid comes from a poor family, a poor home where you can't afford youth sports, I don't think that bothers me. If they have the opportunity to
No, not at all.
be drafted and
Yeah.
to make a difference in their family, that doesn't really bother me. I
No, I'm not
think,
bothered by it at all. No.
yeah, I think on the
And I'll
flip
be
side,
and I'll be honest with you. This sounds gonna sound horrible to say. You can't put yourself in that situation unless your kid is that kid. And if my kid was 16 years old and flame throwing right-hander, and people were like, "Hey, can you play summer baseball with us? But it's going to be $4,000." No, my kid's going to be good whether we plays for your team at all.
right?
Like, if your kid was 16 years old and he's a prospect to get drafted, what's the benefit for me to go play in your tournament? There
Yeah.
is none. There is
And,
none.
I don't know if baseball works this way. I'm sure it does just to some sense, but I think baseball is mostly travel anyways. I'm not really sure if there are a ton of rec league baseball teams,
I mean, they're
but
around, but
they're just not as common. But like
well,
for the
because
soccer,
nobody wants their kid to play rec league. They want all their kids to be travel and
yeah.
elite
And
and yeah.
same with soccer, but that's a big piece of an issue that I think we deal with. And I don't remember who we talked about the rec side of sports with playing rec league sports and just how rec leagues are going away. But in soccer, we see that all the time where, you don't have enough money to play at the club, or you're not good enough to play at the club, or you don't have the same time commitment to play with the big club teams. You go play rec soccer, but the experience and the exposure is not as good,
Yeah. I
you
guess
know?
so. I'm going to challenge the idea of exposure.
Mhm.
Okay.
Especially now. Yeah.
Um,
Maybe 10 years ago, not as much, but
yeah.
now
The
exposure is a little
the
bit easier.
idea the idea of exposure is you get 13-year-old people, parents that are 13 parents of 13-year-olds that are being like, well, we're going to play on this club because my kid's going to get exposed to get looks at from college. And I'm like, they're 13,
Right.
right? What are you telling your kid? I think the repercussion of telling your kid that the only reason we're doing sports is for a scholarship. When I'll be honest with you, man, I run into a lot of kids in my history, in my career, and will challenge anybody. I've worked with more elite kids than most people. Been very blessed to have elite kids. Um, they didn't need the exposure. Everybody knew who they were already. You know what they look like. You know what they sound like. You know what they move like. It takes you 5 minutes. So, you run into this thing, and we had this issue. My kid's not going to play travel club anything. We're just not going to do it. Um, he had a friend of his who tried out and made a club travel team, and the kid talked all the time about playing in the club travel team. The kid sucked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the kid's not an athletic
But
kid.
that's the whole thing, like,
The
that I
mom and
love
dad
about
the mom and
the
dad 24/7 was talking about how their kid's playing on that travel team.
right,
Well,
right,
you're a $2,000 check and your kid's not very good. But it turns out the parents just wanna talk about how elite their kid is and how special their
right,
kid is, and the kid's horrible. The kid's
right,
not a good at just not listen, some people have it or some people don't, right? The kid's not a good athlete. People always ask me all the time, it's like, "What do you think your kid's gonna be like?" He's a 10. I don't care.
I have no idea.
I
Yeah.
really don't care. For somebody that's worked in youth sports and strength conditioning and done with that for the rest of my life, I actually care about sports way little than most people.
Yeah, and you've said that before, but just from, like, they're a very important part of your life, like, you grew up playing sports, you're coaching in sports, your son is now in sports, like, they're still a very important part of your life,
The
and I
value of it
think
is and the value of it is there for me.
yeah, yeah, but that's, the conversation around not as great of athletes playing in the travel club area, and I think that's what that ESPN article was really about, is, like, you're paying to play at that point.
It's pay to
So
play. Well,
right,
I've said this before. I could go into lower socioeconomic environments. I could go Orangeburg, South Carolina. I'll challenge anybody to this, dude. I'll grab a group of 13-year-old girls that haven't played soccer. I'll get them the right training, the technical help, the right training, the right environment. Those 15 girls out of Orangeburg, by the time they turn 15 years old, they're gonna cook your team. I'm
Right.
sorry, they're gonna cook your little team of rich little white girls. They're
When
gonna
I like,
they're
and
gonna they're
I
just
get
better athletes.
the transition for me moving from my club soccer team to then going to play rec and my high school lacrosse team. I was so much happier, but my competition was still elite. Like our rec team was the best team in our
Yeah,
area
yeah.
when I went to go switch over to play rec. My high
Mhm.
school lacrosse team won state twice, and we went to state all 4 years.
Yeah, well. Yeah, well.
So, like,
Yeah.
there is something to be said that it doesn't have to be expensive to have player development, right? And there wasn't this immense pressure of like, you can only play soccer. Whereas my club team was like, no, like you are playing soccer or you will not play for
Well,
us.
for that, Gray, I'm gonna tell you, that's a dollars. They want your dollar.
Right.
They don't
Exactly.
want your dollars being your families have limited amount of money, or they don't have all the money. Most families don't have exponential amount of money to spend on sports. So they're gonna know that, all right, this family's only gonna spend an X amount. This family's only gonna spend $3,000 a year on sports for their kid. We're gonna make sure we get all
Hmm.
$3,000 of that. So we're gonna
Yeah.
make sure that your kid plays travel, plays the off season, plays this, plays that. And I'm sorry, most I think it was Eddie talked about that, like, I think he was talking about ECNL soccer or high level club soccer. Like, dude, he went over like the average income of the parent that played that was like over $100,000
Yeah.
average income.
Yeah.
And that just tells me it's pay to play.
Yeah.
And when
And
people want to come to me and they say, well, it's about exposure. I don't give two craps about your exposure, to be honest with you. They're gonna find you. I've worked with a girl that played, I think, soccer 1 year, and people were begging her to want to play soccer in college because they knew they could develop this incredible athlete.
yeah. But
That's what
it'll
it is.
happen now. It'll definitely happen. Like now that like social media is present and it's like easier for you to put yourself in front of people. Yes, I can see that. But I mean, the club teams are you're getting a ton of game time. Like you're
Mhm.
getting a ton of exposure across the country when you're traveling. Like I do get the appeal. And a piece of me too is like I can understand why it can be expensive. You're paying top coaches. You have to keep up with the top facility. We're traveling around. Like I know why it's expensive, and a piece of it I understand. But I loved all of these articles talking about why our soccer development specifically is not great because you're not always finding the best athletes. You're finding people that can pay for it.
No, 1,000%. Yeah, the entry level.
Yeah.
And if you look, and I did this, I looked up. I think six of the top kids, six of the top players on the U.S. team had international development.
Hmm. Yeah. Six
What's
of
his
them
name?
are from
But six of them
which
were from. Six of them were all European developed.
yeah, they were
I
dual
like the
citizens,
Pulisic.
but
The Pulisic kid moved to Europe at 16.
yeah.
Right. I think the two brothers grew up in Germany. I mean, I think so. Like, and you're seeing this in college too. Tennis and soccer are the ones I'm most familiar with. Um, Even the smaller schools are bringing in European players to play on their team.
Yeah.
Right.
And
If you
then
go
like
look at Clemson, the year they won the national championship, I think was almost predominantly European soccer kids
right. And so like
coming across.
devil's advocate is all right, well, Europe doesn't have as many sports. I mean, they're starting to get there, starting to increase their amount of sports, but like soccer is such a culture in most other countries, whereas here you've got football, you've got baseball, you've got basketball, and like not saying that that's not abroad, but soccer's always been like number one for a lot of countries, or
Has
at
youth
least
sports
top
has,
two.
has youth sports been as monetized as it is here as it is in Europe? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't think so. Not from the conversations that we've had, at least.
But I
Not in the same
remember
way.
I remember my kid had and I tell people ask me, "Is your kid athletic?" I said, "My kid's competitive and he's physical and he's 10." So when you're 10 years old, like the competitive physical kids tend to be, the better ones on the team because he's competitive and he's physical. Puberty hits, we have no clue, dude. Like, we have no clue. I remember somebody told me at the local, like, someone was like, yeah, 12 years ago, this so and so kid was the best baseball player in the PBL little league we had. And that kid ended up not playing high school baseball. And that kid dropped tanks when we were like 7, 8, 9. He didn't even play high school baseball. Right. Um, but dude, I remember Asher one time going to like a birthday party and a ton of kids were there that played travel soccer, and Asher literally got in the car. Now he's a little arrogant, got a little swag to him. He's like, "Yeah, Dad, those club kids, they were really weren't that good." I was like, "Well, buddy, they're 8. You're 8. You're just 8, right? You're just 8, right?" But where I work, we got a linebacker that just committed to South Carolina, and
What's his name?
Jackson Ross.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I saw that.
yeah, and he's a dude. Like he's just bigger, faster, stronger than everybody else. Like I told people like if he picked up a tennis racket in 6 months, he'd probably be the best tennis player, right? Well, I promise you, if he played one season of soccer, at one point, our soccer coach said that he would be the number one goalie in the state. He played soccer growing up as a kid, and they said, "Hey, the best soccer player you got is also the best basketball player, is also the best football player."
Yeah.
They're like,
And that
he,
kind of
he he'd
person,
be a goalie, and that. So my point in saying that is, we have people saying that if he would have committed to soccer as a 15-year-old and just played 2 years, 1 year travel and 2 years high school, that he'd be a high level Division I goalie.
yeah.
That's an attribute thing. That has nothing to do with development. So what I'm trying to explain to people is I don't care how much development and coaching you have. If you do not have the physical attributes of a Division I athlete, you have no shot. I worked with 2 kids one year. One was the first string offensive tackle, and one was the second string offensive tackle. Maybe played a little bit of one played left tackle and one played right tackle, but one was kind of the backup. One kid was 6'2", 260, and went on to play small football. The backup was 6'7", 260. Guess which one got a Division I full ride and never played for school? The kid that was 6'7". And people are like, well, he wasn't that good. Well, he's 6'7". He looks like the rest of the kids.
Yeah.
I don't care. That's what they look like. And youth sports has turned into this thing. Parents are delusional. The things I've heard come out of parents' mouths when they talk about their kid. And one thing I have is I have accountability around my kid because I understand that anybody can become delusional about their children, right? Kids and money, right? Everybody gets delusional about kids and money. I remember my kid had joint pain, like growth pain. I don't know, they say growth pains are like kind of bullcrap, whatever, but he had swelling in his hands and feet and it hurt. And he had shin pain and it hurt. And like we let it go for like 5 days. And like I'm talking like not wanting to go to school pain. And I went to a
Mm.
friend of mine who's our athletic trainer, and I go, "Hey, I think this is just like no big deal, but like we're going on 5 days." She goes, "Nah, maybe you go to a pediatric. Let's get an X-ray on it. Just go get an X-ray. Just go get an X-rays on his hands and feet and make sure there's nothing going on because let's start the process." And I go, "Okay, I'll go do it." I wasn't going to do it, right? Because I grew up. I remember one time when I broke my hand, I spent 5 days at the house with it broken before my dad was like, "Yeah, maybe you're serious, right?" So I have accountability of people around me so I can be logical around my own child.
Mhm.
You got to be logical around your own child. Some of these people are delusional. Some
Yeah.
of the things you hear them say, you almost think it's a joke. My kid's just as good as that kid.
And I'm
No,
so glad I never grew up in a household
no.
where my parents ever did that shit. Now, of course, if it was true and like something unfair happened, they would have my back, right? That's
Mhm.
what a parent
Yeah.
does.
Most of the times it's really not unfair.
90% of the time,
Mhm.
they're like, you didn't play well.
Yeah.
You you
I've, I've,
you
I've
should have
said,
been sat on the bench.
I've said this to you before. The idea that the coach is screwing my kid because the coach doesn't like my kid is not true. Here's why. A coach would play A basketball coach would play 5 kids who were the spawn of Satan if it meant winning a basketball game. We would. Like, and that's the difference too between boys and girls too, is like, you put boys on a football team and you're like, "Hey, that kid can help you play." He might be the biggest jerk in school, but he's gonna help you win a basketball game. He's on the team. In girl sports, if so and so kissed so and so's boyfriend, they don't want her on the team.
Yeah, that happened in high school.
Woo! All the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, so many parents get on social media and talk about how their kid got screwed. How'd your kid get screwed? I know this.
And
Here's a good one. This is a true story. I know a family, right? And first off, I'd like to say this. I work at a high school. I need people to realize that I have life outside of this place. That not everything I talk about and go about is the place I work at. Okay, that's so stupid to me. It just shows how small-minded environments can be. Yes, that's a direct shot. But I got plenty of experience in other things, other places. It's
yeah,
not all I just say that because somebody's gonna watch it and shoot an email and get upset. Calm down, right? It's not always about you. Um, I had a parent one time take their kid's stats halfway through the season, sit in front of the coach, grab another kid's stats in front of the season, and say, "My kid's stats are better than this kid's stats." The kids were friends. And you know what the coach said? "Hey, if you wanna start having that conversation, let's bring in his parents too." And you know what the kid who brought so one kid was starting, one guy dad said that his son's stats were better. That kid's stats were against the worst teams in the league. So that kid only got like sloppy playtime, like when the game was over or against the worst teams in the league. His stats were against the worst competition.
that
And he
is
wanted
delusion.
and they are delusional.
And
My
I
kid
also it's so embarrassing too, as a child, to have your parent rant on Facebook about what's going on in your life. Like, if the parent truly has a problem with the coach, because it does happen, like, obviously take it up with the coach, but that is such a lesson for so many parents, and I'm so glad, like, I've gotten to hear so much of this when we're starting to think about having kids, and we're gonna encourage our kids to play sports. How insane parents are to thinking about their children playing sports, and again, a lot of it is, like, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, like, literally, who cares? Who
yeah,
cares? You
nobody
want
cares.
them out of your house, go learn some life skills, go learn to be on a team. It doesn't matter other than that at that age.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine recently. He does jujitsu, and probably 5, 6 years young, mid-40s, right? Mid-40s, 42, 43. Grew up at Dorman, grew up in Dorman. And he's like, "Josh, my parents made me play football. I wasn't the greatest, but what we did in my family as boys is we played Dorman football. And there were times I wanted to quit because I wasn't that great, but I still got a little bit of playtime, but I was part of a team. My parents said, 'This is not about football.'" He goes, "I went on, ended up going to Wofford. Wasn't your typical Wofford driving a $70,000 car. My parents paid cash for it. Like, he had to earn some things to get to Wofford, and he was blue collar. And he went on to the military, became a special forces medic. So kind of a dog, right?
Yeah,
Special forces medic.
definitely.
And he goes, "Josh, I never would have made it through military if I didn't have a taste of summer football for 4 years of my high school. Never would have made it.
Exactly.
Never would have made it." And I realized as I went through the military that I'm glad my parents made me stick and stay when it was hard and do it, because I never would have done it. And that's just not how I live, and that's not how I wanna have my kids live. But I'm glad they made me stick through it because I learned lessons. When I would come home complaining that I'm not getting playtime, it'll just get better.
Mhm.
It's not about football. It's not all the time, right?
That's black and white. It's literally get better or sit the
Yeah.
bench.
Or sit the bench, right?
Yeah.
And, we don't have that anymore, man, because I think some of this is related to highlight culture. We see and get on social and we see these kids are getting college offers, and we think that everybody's getting college offers when, it's only 3% of the kids that are getting college scholarship offers. It's only because you're getting on social and you're reading all of this. You're not seeing the other 97 who just played and had fun. So if college scholarship for athletics is your college plan, you're losing. You're gonna lose that battle.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
but I think there was a study they did at a little league baseball tournament in Florida, in Jupiter, one of the big tournaments they have in Jupiter, and it was 12-year-old kids, and something like 67% of the parents believe their kid has what it takes to earn a college scholarship,
Mm,
and they don't.
no,
And I'll believe it. I'll tell you this: in the affluent families, it's even worse.
I'm sure because
The
they're like,
affluent,
well, we can do anything.
we can do anything because we have money, right? Um, it's incredible in to see some of this stuff from the development side because we're started talking about the soccer environment. Um, I've seen a bunch of stuff that I haven't read at all, but I used to be of the idea that, you know, American soccer really wasn't going to be there far because so many of the kids choose other sports, baseball, football, baseball. And then I heard somebody say, like, the USA soccer made it to the round of 16 and didn't get any farther, not because, and it wasn't an athletic issue,
Yeah,
right? It was
we have
just
athletes.
they're better at soccer than we are. But here's my counter to that. Can I say my counter to that?
Yeah, because I don't necessarily agree with that.
If Erling Haaland was born in Omaha, Nebraska, would he have played soccer?
Probably football.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm
Probably.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
if Erling Haaland was born anywhere else, would he have been a college tight end, wide receiver? They say? I think I saw a thing today. He's 6'4",
Six
6'5".
four.
He's 200 to 215. He's big, 220 maybe. I don't know. Somewhere 200, 220. If he was born in Omaha, Nebraska, you think that boy would have made it to a soccer field? You know what I'm saying?
I
I
don't
guess that's
know.
the
Yeah.
point. But
Yeah.
then, I was talking today to a friend of mine, and he goes, "Man, can you imagine if you took the 15 best athletes in pro sports in the United States, rewound their life to 13 years old, and they all played soccer? Can you imagine if LeBron James played goalie? Tyreek Hill played
This is a
striker,
common conversation right now.
right? If Tyreek Hill played striker, right? If Ray Lewis in his prime was a center back, like you look at some of these dudes, if Randy Moss played striker and played soccer from when he was 12, he just grew up in Rand, West Virginia, grew up poor community that probably didn't even have a soccer field and probably didn't have a soccer team anywhere, right? If those guys would have grown up playing soccer from an athletic purpose, I mean, it's pretty impressive to think about, right? Is that true?
I agree and disagree to a certain extent because it's not that we don't have athletes on our team. We have incredible soccer players on our team. They
Okay.
played like
But
shit
but do you
on
have a
Monday.
Tyreek Hill though? Like, do you have a dude out there that's 5'10", 195 that's
But that
running
doesn't necessarily
running
matter
No,
because
but the skill set's there.
Messi is like 5'7", like probably
Mhm.
150 pounds. So
Yeah,
it's
I understand the skill of soccer. But if you taught these guys the skill of soccer instead of, if you take the best athlete and teach them the actual skill of soccer at such an early age, where instead of having a basketball in his hands, they had a soccer ball at their feet every day
but
at
that's
12
not a
years old.
fixable issue, right? Because we do have so much choice
Mhm,
in America of what sport you could play. That will never be solved because we'll never be able to look at Tyreek Hill and say, well, now you can't play football anymore. You actually have to go play with the men's team.
mhm,
That's not going to happen, right?
mhm,
Whereas, like we said, in Europe and other nations, like soccer has so much popularity. There is so much development in their youth sports that, like, a lot of kids do end up playing soccer. They probably don't have as great of programs with football or with hockey,
Yeah, yeah.
or I mean, they do, but
Mhm.
maybe not to the same caliber that we do, right? So I don't necessarily believe the argument of if we stuck our best athletes in soccer, would we perform any better? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But
Mhm.
I don't think soccer as a sport requires you to be a genetic freak. I don't think so because it involves so much skill physically and so much skill mentally, just having played it for so long. I think you could be 5'3". I think you could be 6'4". I don't think it really matters.
Mhm.
I think you have to be an endurance athlete, you have to have the skill, and you have to have the drive.
I use this all the time with baseball. Your best athlete in your school could probably, like, kinda go play football and figure it out in the summer.
Mhm, I agree with that.
They probably play enough pickup basketball that they could be decent at basketball. You know, you put a baseball bat in their hands and have 5'7", 140-pound pitcher who's been playing since he was 10, he's gonna go 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts.
Mhm,
He's
yeah,
gonna you put a golf club in their hand, they're not gonna know how to swing. They're gonna miss the club, like, you know what I'm
right, the
saying? Like,
technical skill of
the
it, yeah,
technical sports that have such a high technical and swinging a baseball bat, a round ball to hit a round bat is technically, like, impressive.
yeah,
So, do you think soccer is one of those?
yes, I do, and here's why, because, like, with football, you could play defense, you could play offense and not have to touch the ball that much, you could still just be an incredible athlete and maybe not be a quarterback or maybe not be a receiver, whatever, right? There's multiple positions that you could play and be successful in football. You could be a kicker, whatever.
Mhm,
Basketball kind of is the same way. Like you might not be great from the line, but you could be an incredible defender.
mhm. Rebounder.
Soccer, sure. Soccer, you have to pretty much have all the skill unless you're playing keeper, right? They have a different skill set a little bit. But soccer has a skill. Every player on the field, just like baseball, needs to be able to push the ball forward and defend the ball. Just like with baseball, hit the ball, run the bases, make good throws, catch
Yeah.
the ball, right? There's different technical skill with soccer and baseball and hockey and golf that other these other competitive sports I don't think they require skill but not in the same way. Does that make sense? We had this
No, I understand,
conversation
yeah.
actually over the weekend, me and, some of the guys in my family just talking about the skill set difference. I think a lot of people can pick up football and be pretty good, unless you just aren't competitive.
Yeah, a lot of times coaches walk the hallways and look for dudes.
Yeah. You
You
can
look through
teach
the
a
hallways and
guy.
you go, "Oh, that's a dude. What can he do? We'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah. The
We'll
only way
figure"
I feel like you're not great at basketball and football is if you're just not competitive. It takes a lot to use your feet for everything that you do.
in soccer.
It's a big skill
Yeah,
set.
I watch people do things in soccer, and
Mhm.
I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty freaking incredible." Like, dribbling inside close spaces and passing back and forth, I'm like, "That's incredible." That's
Right, same with hockey. Yeah.
listen, I grew up where it's freezing, and we'd get on, like, a friend's pond with ice skate. Listen, they ice skate like it's no big deal, like anybody can do
Mhm,
it. No,
mhm,
that's a whole new ball game.
mhm.
That's a
And the
whole new
puck's
ball
is
game.
big and it's
Yeah,
hard.
dude, and it's hard and it hurts,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
I
Um,
just think there's different skill set requirements, and that's
lacrosse,
again yeah,
you find
lacrosse
an
has a lot of
I'm
skill.
sorry, you find a normal average human being to pass the ball with a net back and forth,
It's
no shot.
hard. I
It's
did it.
very hard. It's
Mhm,
incredibly hard. I've
mhm,
grabbed the hockey stick and, like, tried to pass the ball against the wall and catch it, and I do, like, 3 times, I chase the ball around the field, and I'm like, "This sucks, I'm leaving."
mhm.
Right? No, it's
Yeah,
incredibly hard.
yeah.
But, you know, in my opinion, and this sounds bad, I don't think I said that I think I said the opposite 6 months ago or a year ago when we did the state of youth sports. Um, I think we've lost youth sports. It's
Mhm,
no longer what it is, and it's not going back.
mhm.
It's not going back to what it was, right? It's not. Um, it's so far gone that we're not we're not getting those things back. And, you hear people like, "Oh, it's one conversation at a time." Too bad, too late. We're not having I've just had too many conversations with people you're gonna have to find every single individual family is gonna have to find what sports means to them, and then they go out and find the environment in which they want their kid to be in sports. For me, 99% of sports for my kid is getting him out of the house,
Exactly.
being with his friends and doing
Yeah.
something active. That's all I care, right?
Mhm.
Um, we went out and we're doing basketball right now. Never played competitive basketball. He's just running up and down the court and it's something competitive and he wants to go do it. You know, he'll probably want to do baseball. Doesn't practice a lot of baseball, probably not going to be great, right? Um, it's the South. He'll tell you football's king. It's the greatest thing. He goes upstairs, plays Madden for hours, wants to play football with his buddies, and that's the deal. He'll play FIFA. He's got the most experience with soccer. He's had a lot of success being good at soccer, but it's because he's played it forever. He's very physical, and he started when he was like 4,
Mhm.
right? So, but I honestly, if my kid next year comes downstairs and takes all of his soccer stuff and throws it away, and all of a sudden he goes and he goes, "Daddy, I want to go learn piano." I'll be honest with you, I'd be pumped. I'm serious.
Oh,
When I
yeah.
go to when I go to soccer practice, when I or not when I'd go to his baseball practice, I would sit on a picnic table far away from everybody else with headphones on and a hoodie and sit as far away because you know what it is? It's 15 dads cling to the fence like cats,
Like reliving their
like
8-year-old
reliving.
baseball. Yeah.
And there's 15 coaches out there. They're all dads. Dads are clung. The moms are sitting together. Can't wait to go home and drink a glass of wine. And it is I'm an observer anyway. And you know, I don't know if you've ever done those Myers Briggs
Mhm.
INTJ type things. I'm
Yeah.
INTJ. The last J stands for judgmental. Okay, I am who I am, bro. Um, and I know that when you do those things, it doesn't really mean I judge people. I just kind of joke with that. They say the J judge means judgmental. Trust me if I'm watching, I'm judging, right?
Right.
But I sit there and I watch this and I go, I don't want my kid to have anything to do with this. I really don't. And I really don't want to do it because our house conversation isn't dominated by sports by any means at
But
all.
you're doing it right. Like, I know how you feel. I can't say I know exactly how you feel, but I understand why you say, like, you would like if you would switch into piano, but at the end of the day, like, he's still getting so much value out of continuing to play sports. And I'll tell you too, just from growing up in a household where I could do whatever I wanted sports wise and I was never limited. The only rule was you won't quit once you've
Yeah,
started.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you
It's
started
common.
on the team,
Mhm,
you'll play the full year. You won't quit
mhm,
unless something crazy happened, but that never did. That was the only rule. But growing up in that household where I had the option to explore sports like you're giving Asher, it taught me so much.
mhm,
And that's I love that from my parents, like, that's one of the greatest lessons because it made me good at multiple sports, like, I was very athletic. I was a very good athlete, and allowing me to, like, pick up multiple sports, being both team and individual, that taught
mhm,
me the most. Like, every lesson I learned came from sports for the most part.
mhm. I was allowed to play everything growing up and
But
do
that's how it should
everything,
be.
and,
Like,
like,
you
I was
rob a
decent at
kid.
everything, and I was never great at
Mhm.
anything. I was never great at anything, but I was decent. Like, I could grab a tennis racket and go play tennis. I could
Same.
grab this and I was developed athletically. I grew up in a very athletic family. All my sisters played. My dad played college sports. My dad was very athletic. My dad was a coach.
You're
And
competitive.
and yeah, and I got into, like, jujitsu later on in life. Um, but, like, I sit and watch what it is now, and it's a tragedy to me.
Mhm.
When I sit and watch sports, it's a and people still talk to me, like, I saw a friend of mine at a birthday party. I dropped Asher off. 20 minutes later, I get a text, and he goes, "Dude, your kid's athletic." And I go, "Hey, that's cool, man. Like, he's pretty competitive. He plays a lot." He's like, and his kids are the same age. Like, one kid's a year older, one kid's a year younger. And he's like, "What are you doing with him outside, dude? You guys do like ladder drills?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Me and my kids, we run hill sprints like every day on the weekend, trying to get him faster. What do you guys do?" I go, "We just play sports, man." He's like, "Well, I got to start my kid doing some kind of speed agility. What should I do?" I don't know, man. Like, we go eat ice cream afterwards, and he plays sports, and we come home, and like, I don't know, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, even when we did a wrestling camp a couple weeks ago, he did a week of wrestling camp, and we're getting ready to go to the wrestling camp. And he goes, "Dad, wrestling's a lot like jujitsu, but I'm not submitting them. I'm just holding them on their back." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Easy." I go, "Yeah, buddy. Sure is easy. Yep.
But, like, you're
Yep.
making him
Sure is."
so, or you're helping him at least learn to be so courageous,
Yeah,
right?
we're
Like,
trying everything. We're doing it. We're
right.
trying it. And my favorite moments for my kid are the ones he fails. See, I'm different than you. I'm
Yeah,
different than
but
most
that's
parents. My favorite
exactly.
I loved when he struggled through baseball. He would get in the car and talk to me about it, and I'm laughing on the way because the first thing he did, he sat in the car and he goes, "Dad, it's really hard to hit that ball every time."
Mhm.
I'm like, "Yeah, son.
But he's, like,
Yes."
learning from his failures. Like,
Yeah.
you can see that, and again, like, you're helping him learn to not fear the unknown or the uncomfortable. Like, he's gonna be able, and I feel like that's what helped me a lot too, is like, I would just jump into a sport and hopefully pick it up and hopefully be good at it, but I would show up to practice. Like,
Mhm.
well, I can't pick up a ground ball yet, but eventually I'll be able to, you
Yeah,
know?
he one thing I do give my kid is that he's a practicer.
Yeah.
If he's not good at anything, like, after his first basketball practice, he jumped in the car, and I never watch practice. I leave him alone for practice, we come back and get him, right? I never watch practice, I'm just not gonna be that dad, I'm not gonna sit up there and watch practice. I'm just not gonna do it, dude, because I'm not gonna put expectations on kids that he has to be great in front of me or something. He's gonna go have fun. I don't The expectations of sports is not there, we don't have it at my house, and he got in the car, he had a basketball in his hands, he took his shoes off, and he goes, "I gotta go to the gym tomorrow and shoot, dad." "Okay, we'll go to the gym and shoot." And I'm like, and I asked him, I said, "Do you wanna go to the gym and do, like, drills?" And he goes, "No, let's just play a bunch of pig and horse." "That's cool." And then, like, he'll be like, "Hey, daddy, what's a drill that I can do to get better?" And I'll be like, "All right, dribble around this cone, dribble around this cone." He'll do it twice and be like, "That's boring." Like, he's in flag football, right?
Yeah.
He's in football camp right now, and my buddy coaches the camp. And I'm like, "Hey, how was camp?" He goes, "All these kids wanna do is play 7-on-7. They don't wanna do any football drills." And he's like, "Your kid, every time we're 10 minutes into a drill, it's a 3-hour camp, but 10 minutes in, your kid walks up to me and goes, 'When are we splitting up for 7-on-7?'" I'm like, "Yeah, just like in wrestling. He doesn't wanna do wrestling drills and jujitsu drills. He wants to go roll, right?"
Yeah.
And that's how kids are. But, I say that practice is great, and we've lost it. It's gone.
Mm.
It's gone. It's up to your individual families to decide as a family what the purpose of youth sports is for you, right? Um, if you're pushing the high school, I think you're doing your child a shame if you're going a disservice if you're taking them to 13, 15-year-old workout tryouts strictly because that 13 to 15-year-old is about exposure. You're telling
Mhm.
your kid that the purpose of sports is the scholarship. I had a parent one time tell me that they didn't push sports with their kid because they knew they'd never get a scholarship. I go, "Well, that's the purpose of sport. That's so you're telling your kid the purpose of playing a sport is strictly to get a scholarship? Like the only reason he reads is because he shouldn't read if he doesn't want to be an author? Like, you know what I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like don't get on a computer unless you want to be a computer engineer,
Mhm.
right? You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
and we've missed the whole thing. And really, it's parents' fault. It's due to parents, delusional parents. Man, it's ridiculous. The things that I hear. I've had parents say things to me, and I chuckle, and I'm like, wait, they're serious. They're
Mm.
really serious.
Yeah.
I found out that there's a kid that's in 8th grade that has a list of the schools that he wants to commit to for football and lacrosse. He's just not sure which one he likes first. And those schools are like Georgia, Tennessee.
I mean, it's like, okay, cool. It's great to have dreams.
Yeah, I get that.
Have dreams.
I get. Yeah, I guess I need to say. Yeah. I guess I need to go back and do that. I said that's cool that a kid wants to do that. That's cool that a kid wants to do that. But
But I hope it's not influenced by the parent.
Mhm.
You know, it maybe is talked about like, yes, that would be incredible. Like if you're good enough, that would be incredible. But like be realistic about kids actually getting scholarships.
Yeah, yeah, and I think where it gets the kid in trouble is he goes around and tells all the other kids that these are the schools I wanna go play at. So it's kinda
Yeah.
kids are like, right? And there is the whole idea of telling kids that, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. In theory, I understand the concept of encouraging your kid to try anything he can, and I want kids to push to achieve high achieving things. But when you have a 16-year-old kid and your mom sits down with you and says, "You can play Division I DB if you put your." I've had parents come to me and be like, "My kid's gonna play Division I college sports. You just don't know my kid and how hard he works." I really don't give a crap how hard he works. He's 5'9", 170. I don't care. I don't care if your kid's sleeping 20 hours a week and he's 20 hours, sleeping 4 hours a night and he's Elon Musk, right? I don't care. He's not gonna play college sports. It's just not gonna happen. Doesn't mean he can't have value doing what he's doing,
But
but
no, that's a great perspective to have of like the the number one goal of playing sports should not be to get the scholarship. If you do, that's awesome. You get to play sports for at least 4 more years.
you're blessed. You won the genetic lottery.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
won the genetic
Or your
lottery if
skill
you are
set is
blessed.
just insane. But
I had a kid we had a kid one year that was really good, and he didn't know if he wanted to play college sports, and he was getting offers, and he literally was like, "I don't know if I wanna play college sports. I don't know if I love it that much." And we had a parent who had a kid who really wanted to play college sports. It was like, "That kid needs to stop saying that because that's disrespectful to the kids who really wanna go out there and play." I said, "No, it's not disrespectful. The kid doesn't know if he wants to play college because he understands the commitment, and maybe that's not his goal, is to play college sports, right? Like, that's not disrespectful, right? That's not disrespectful. He's just really talented, got offers, and when he was younger now he ended up going off and playing college sports, but when he was, like, a freshman, sophomore, he wasn't sure if that's the route he wanted to take. I respect the kid's insight for saying, "Hey, I'm not sure if that's what I want when I go to college." I respect that a lot from a kid being able to
100%.
say that,
Well,
right?
why is it disrespectful? If he doesn't wanna go, maybe that your son just got an opening to go instead of him. Like, I
Yeah,
don't understand that. Why
yeah.
is that disrespectful that a kid doesn't you can commit a lot of years to your life and not want the next level. That's fine.
I struggle too when you hear people and parents say the words like deserves. Oh, the hard work and time my kid deserves playtime. No, the ones that deserve playtime are the best kids. That's
If
equity.
you
That's
it
equity.
mm, right.
Yeah,
Not
that's
life is not
equity.
fair. Life is not
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, dude, this ain't DEI, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we talk about it too. That's why I love sports and that's why I love the weight room. Like, weight room and sometimes it doesn't give a crap
Doesn't
about
lie.
anything else. Don't lie, bro. It does not lie. And that's why I love things like jujitsu and wrestling. Like, dude, I don't care how it is. You throw you on the mat with one other dude, like, there's no bull crap. Matt don't care like how much money that dude makes. Right? It just doesn't. And
That's like the benefit to individual sports to me too. Like I think most kids should do a team sport and an individual sport because the only person to blame when I was swimming and I didn't win was me,
yeah, that guy
you know?
faster was faster than me.
Yeah, I could play like
Like,
shit and still win a game on the soccer team. I knew I played like shit, of course, but
yeah.
we could still win, you know?
Mhm.
So I think there's so much value in learning an individual sport of some sort.
Yeah, there's something to be like, "Well, why'd you lose? Because 'Cause they're better." I don't know, yeah.
Period. Mhm.
Yeah, I remember my kid first baseball game, he's like, "Why did I play right field and bat last? Other kids are better than you." He's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, like, the other kids are just better than you, son."
It's valuable because I hope that would like I mean, Asher's very competitive. I hope that would light something up in him and be like, well, I have to get better. Sounds
Yeah,
like that's what he
yeah,
would
yeah,
do.
you just gotta play more and get better more and
Hit the
all
ball.
these and hit the ball. Yeah, how do I not bat last? Hit the ball, son. That's probably
Right.
the first
Go
place to start.
practice hitting the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah. Go hit the ball. That bat has to hit that ball, buddy. You do that, you'll probably see to play a lot more,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly, or get
Right.
really good at bunting.
Yeah, just get out. Yeah, like I don't know, dude, but like you know, there is my algorithms had a lot of youth sports and a lot of sports because of the soccer and I've fallen in love with the World Cup. It's so fun.
Not FIFA.
Not FIFA. It's the World Cup. The World Cup is so fun. I love it. The
It's
games
my
are
favorite.
incredible. I mean, the games are incredible. It's stressful. Um, the almost goals are the best ones, and like
Mhm.
you know, Messi down 2-0 and comes back, and somebody tried to compare it to Tom Brady down 28-3 and coming back and winning the Super Bowl. He was down 28-3 to the Falcons, and Messi down 2-0 is similar. Um, and seeing like the small little towns of like Cape Verde and those little places do great, and the people get behind it and like and just cheer them on when they come home, and you find out this dude was a freaking electrician.
Mhm.
Right, and
Mhm.
and and, I think seeing Erling Haaland walk through Dallas trying on cowboy hats is hilarious.
He's
If
the
there's if
best.
there's anybody's stock in the world that has quadrupled, it's Erling Haaland's stock as a human
Mhm.
being and as a world-class world superstar has has erupted because, like, I guess that he came to the United States and got a Snapchat for the first time.
Yes.
And somebody was
Yes.
like, "Whoever showed Erling Haaland how to get a Snapchat is the best person in the world."
Yeah.
And he's doing Snapchat. The social's funny. The ones where he's trying on cowboy hats. Did you see when he first got to Dallas? He went live and he's walking through Dallas and nobody knew who he was.
No, I didn't see that
Yeah,
one.
nobody knew. I think it was Dallas, but like nobody knew who he was.
Love it.
And he was just like, "You can't do that in Europe." If Erling Haaland got out of a Uber, is there Uber in Europe? I don't know, dude.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm
Yes.
so like, I don't
There's
know, dude.
Uber most places
Yeah, like
now.
I go to 3 places in the world and that's it. But, it's like the gym, my house, and work. That's all I do. But,
Mhm.
um, if he got out of an Uber in London, he would be mobbed, right? But like he showed him wherever they were at and he was just walking and chilling
Mhm.
and was like, "I'm totally
I
cool."
love him. He's
And
so good.
dude, the stuff he does is hilarious. The stuff he does on the field is hilarious,
Mhm.
and he's like, what, 24? Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
he's a
he's so
big
young.
big 24, he's like a big ogre,
Yeah.
right? He's a
He's
big
so great.
and he makes fun of himself on social, he's
Mhm.
cool about himself. Um, Rachel found all these clips of him with Birkin bags,
My God.
and he has a Birkin bag collection,
That's
and it's
hilarious.
Holland in, like, 15 different pictures with 15 different Birkin bags. And she's like, "Isn't that a girl's bag?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not sure the dude cares.
Yeah. I don't think he gives a shit at all.
I don't care that he cares that he's got like a
I know he has a
Birkin
girlfriend,
bag."
I think.
Yeah, and
Maybe
she's
his
like really
first.
pretty. Yeah, like this really pretty girl, and they're still
He's
pictures of them together. They've been together for like
personality
4
win.
years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because like he's an ogreish looking dude.
Yeah. He's a big guy.
Yeah, but when Asher first started soccer and Erling was like 20, Asher grew his hair out literally because he wanted Erling Haaland's hair.
Does Zlatan grow? Because
The
Zlatan
long
always said
yeah.
that hair is power.
Yeah, the hair is power and grow it out, yeah,
Uh-huh.
and so Asher wanted to he hated that it was curly, he wanted to, grow it out and straighten it so he could have Erling Haaland's hair
That's
when
funny.
he was, like, 6 years old, and that was, like, when Erling first started becoming popular, like, when he first signed with, like, Manchester City or something, um, but it's cool to watch, like, I'm bummed that we're down to only, like, 8 teams because, like, it's not on every day. Dude, I was coming home every
Four
day and just
o'clock.
who is
France
it today?
plays
France and, is it France,
Morocco.
Spain?
I think it's at
Morocco?
4. Yeah. I think it's at
And they're incredible, right? They're
yeah.
incredible. They got incredible players, right,
Yeah,
on their
Mbappe's
team.
really fun to watch.
Yeah, they're really incredible.
Yeah,
I
4
hope
o'clock.
Norway just beats the brakes out of England. I just hope they beat the brakes out of him.
I just can't stand Harry Kane. I can't
I can't
stand
stand
him.
Harry Kane at all. I can't stand that they got a kid on their name named Declan.
Yeah. I like Jude Bellingham, but that's about the
I
only
like Jude
one.
Bellingham. I think he's really
Yeah,
good and he's fun to
he's
watch
really
play,
and he's a
right?
good guy.
And I think he's fun to watch. Like, I hope Harry Kane snaps a femur.
I
I
don't hope
do.
that, but I
I
don't like
do.
him. I just think he's a
Right.
little bitch.
And Declan Rice, I don't think he's got any shot with that big ogre.
I wish Mexico would have beat them
Oh,
so
dude.
badly.
Um, dude, that environment and at the Azteca, can you
Ugh, we were
imagine?
supposed to go. We were
Are you
supposed to go.
sure? You sure? I don't know. I don't know. Are you safe at there? Like I saw where Declan Rice, when they opened the game, he kicked that guy in the face, and
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be playing on the
like,
team. And
I'm
I
like,
told
I'm like,
so
I
like,
don't know. I don't know if you know if the mobsters and the drug dealers going to let Declan Rice out of that city, dude. Like,
well, we were supposed to do our honeymoon in January and then push it back just because we bought a house and everything. It was crazy. But we were talking about going to Mexico City for the World Cup. And I told Austin, I was like, I don't care what game it is. I just want to go to Mexico City and go to a game. I
is
literally
that?
don't give a
Did
shit.
they make it safe though? Because Mexico City's not exactly the safest place in the world.
I think it depends on where you are.
I'm sure for the World Cup, they
But also, like, I understand the argument of not being the safest in the world, whatever. But I mean, you walk down the streets of New York in the not greatest place. I mean, you walk
yeah.
down the streets of Charleston in the not greatest place at night, and you're going to feel the same way. I don't,
Wasn't there that what just happened
yes.
in Charleston?
In North Charleston,
Did
like
somebody
that
get beat up?
huge 4th of July thing that turned into a bunch of like violence. I don't know. They beat up a woman cop, a female cop. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. It's dangerous everywhere. Now, of course, you got more cartel action when you go down to Mexico, but Mexico City is a huge city and there's a ton of people
My
there.
sister lived in Bogota during the halt of uh the drug lords and um what do you call them? Not the mafia. What do you call them? The
Cartel?
cartels. And my sister lived in Bogota, Colombia, when the cartels were like at their highest. And I remember my family used to always be scared when they'd hear about something. My sister would be like, "Well, if you're not involved in it, you're really not like."
You're not, yeah. My
Yeah,
friends that have been to Mexico City are like, it's my favorite place I've ever been. So we're gonna go next
think the
year.
food's good.
Yes, that's what I keep hearing is like the architecture is amazing and the food is the best food you'll
Yeah,
ever
well,
have.
the Mayan and the Aztec and the Mexica architecture, and I told Rachel 2 weeks ago, I would go see the pyramids in Mexico City, right? Because I had a grandmother that was still very much Indian, Mexican Indian, like my dad grew up in the um Coco environment.
I think I know what Coco is.
TV show, the movie Coco.
Okay, yeah,
Movie
yeah.
Coco, like, my dad grew up in and my grandmother was a very like, my dad's Mexican, grew up in Mexico City, but the side of it is Spanish and Mayan Indian.
Mm,
So they're very, very large. Like, when you see my dad and his brothers, you're like, "I didn't know Mexicans were that big." Well, they're European Mayan descent,
yeah.
right? Where my dad's grandmother, like, basically grew up on the reservation, like, right? So very large Indian with European like, my grandmother had green eyes. And they're large, like, I have an uncle that's, like, 6'4", and you're like, "I've never heard of a 6'4" Mexican." Like, yeah, no, they're all, like, little right? Like, even when you say you're like, what the hell's a 6'4" Mexican?" Like, do you see how small some of those guys were against
Yeah.
they look like little Indian,
Mhm.
little Aztec Indian little guys.
Yeah.
But, I would go see the architecture, and I would go see, like, the pyramids, and I think the idea of Mexico City, how Mexico City is built on, like, the water and historically built on the water, I would go there and see all that. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. We have a wedding in Mexico next year, and we think that we'll start the
Where?
week in Mexico City. Zihuatanejo. It's on the
Mhm.
coast, the western coast. You have to
Okay.
fly in Ixtapa. I
Mhm.
think that's how you say it. So
Mhm.
I've only been to Cancun in Mexico. That's the only place. So I'm excited to do I've Mexico, my top 3 bucket lists it's Tanzania, which we're going to next week,
Yeah, yeah.
Norway,
Like
and then
Tanzania.
Mexico City. So Tanzania is where Mount Kilimanjaro is, which is the highest peak in Africa. It's also where the Serengeti National Park is, which is like some of the best wildlife in Africa. And it's just always been at the top of my bucket list since I was little, besides Australia. And I went to
Why
South
Norway?
Africa because I want to go see the Northern Lights and I want to be really cold.
You know the Damskers. You know Kirsty's from
Yeah.
Norway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told her I told Jamie this week on the phone that I am adopted Norwegian.
Yeah. Same.
I said we're all Norwegian now.
Yeah.
For the rest of the World Cup, we're all
I'm
historically
Norwegian.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're
Agree.
all celebrating. And I'll sit down and I'll do the row when they do it. Like
Yes, I love it.
dude,
Ooh,
I get into
same.
the World Cup, dude. I
Same. It's
am
so
all
good.
in.
They play Saturday. Yeah. Saturday. I can't wait.
I told everybody, I was like, what are you getting ready to do to watch England Mexico game? I said I watched Braveheart. I watched Braveheart and Patriot because I just need to see the English completely slaughtered
Action.
I need to see the English completely slaughtered by Mel Gibson to get me ready.
Yes, that is so
Right.
funny. I love it.
Hey, we'll see. We got
Tomorrow.
Yeah, we got
2 tomorrow.
2 tomorrow. Let's do this.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you.
Bye.